Hello everybody, I'm Yusuf, your writing teacher in Exeter level. As you can see, today we are talking about what is an essay. Then I will go through 3 types of essay. As you can see here, classification, advantage and disadvantage, and the last one will be argumentative. So let's focus on what is an essay. First of all, let's talk about the steps that we have for writing an essay. As you know, first of all, we need to gather information that we call it brainstorming. And then we will go through outline, and finally we need to start our writing. Let's go to step one by one. First, what is brainstorming? As you can see here, brainstorming is a creative technique for coming up with a solution to a problem. You allow yourself to write down everything that comes to your mind, and then you will write whatever you want. Then you need to cross out the irrelevant ones. So in brainstorming, you bombard your brain with lots of new ideas, and you will write all of them on a paper. Then you will cross out those irrelevant ones. After brainstorming, we have outlining, as I talked before. You can see outlining here. This is the second step. In your outlining, first of all, let me tell you what is an outline. Outline is a tool used to organize written idea about a topic or thesis into the logical order. Outlines arrange major topics, subtopics, and supporting details. Writers use outlines when writing their paper in order to know which topic to cover in what order. So outlines give us the idea to put them in a logical order. Let's go to have an example. Of course, this is the outline. You can see here, first of all, in outline we have thesis statement. Then we will have 3 topic sentences, and then details, and finally we have thesis restatement. We will go through them one by one, of course. So after outlining, we can start our essay. First of all, as you know, we have introduction. First of all, we have introduction paragraph. What is an introduction paragraph? As you can see here, introduction paragraph is a part that you will tell your reader what you're going to talk about. But first of all, you need to generalize it. In introduction, first step, you should start with a generalized statement to draw your reader's attention to the topic. You can ask a question, you can ask general information, you can even find interesting quotation from famous people. Of course, in your country you can have some famous people. And then you need to tell the reader what you are going to talk about. That we call it thesis statement. After the first paragraph, the introduction, we need to go to the second one, third and fourth. Both of them, or of course better to say 3 of them, we call them body paragraph. So first of all, what is body paragraph? Or it's better to say what are body paragraphs, because we have 3 body paragraphs. A body paragraph is a group of related sentences about a particular topic or idea directly relating to the thesis statement. The majority of any essay consists of 3 body paragraphs. In this paragraph, the main information is presented. You should start each paragraph of the body with a topic sentence which is mentioned in outline. So, in our body paragraph, we will tell the main idea. We can define it. We can have some example. And of course, we mention the topic in outline. So, each body paragraph needs its own body. After that, we need to go to conclusion. In conclusion, normally or usually we have 2 parts. First, we should restate our thesis. And when we say restate, it means that we should tell the idea in another words. As you can see here, we be careful to avoid rewriting word by word. Of course, you should mention the idea, but you should change the word. Restate, look at the name. Then you can summarize this, and of course, it's better to give your final opinion. It's better to give your final opinion. Of course, It depends on the types of essay you're writing. So I need to focus it again. So far we had 5 paragraphs. Number 1, introduction. Number 2, 3, 4 will be body, and the last one will be conclusion. Let's look at 3 types of essays. The first one that I wanted to focus is classification. As I told you before, classification comes from the verb classify. It means that category, or to categorize something. There is a definition from a dictionary that I put you here. To arranging classes or to consider someone or something belonging to a particular group. So, I want you to look at this beautiful example. As you can see, when you come to, first time you came here in Exeter University, you have seen these bins around our classes, maybe in campus. So, we used to put all trash in the correct or in the particular places. So it's better to say that we classify them, okay? So, and in classification essay, you divide the topic into the 3 classes based on one aspect. It means that we should focus on one aspect, okay? And then you need to give information about them on the same order. There are 3 steps that you can remember, that it's better to say you should remember these. Number 1, organize things into the useful categories. Second one, use a single organizing principle. And the last one, you can give example in order to fit to the categories. So let's have an example. Here we have the classification of countries, of course based on their economical situation. As I told you before, the first part or the first step is brainstorming. What is brainstorming? As I told you before, we should bombard our mind with lots of words related to the topic. You can see here, we have 3 kind of countries based on their economic situation. Underdeveloped countries, developing countries, or developed countries. So, and we have details as well, high rate of poverty, limited sources, I don't know, rich and poor people, industry, high standard of living, and technological infrastructure, and others. So, we have 3 groups here, it's better to say. After brainstorming, we have outline. As I told you before, in outline we have thesis statement. There are 3 types of countries according to their economic conditions. This is the factor that I told you, based on one factor. And we have 3 topic sentence. Number 1, the first category is developed country. The second one, developing one. And the last one, underdeveloped. And we can, of course, we should mention details here as well. And we have thesis statement in conclusion, or thesis restatement, it's better to say. In conclusion, the countries are divided into 3 terms of development. So, let's look at the example that I provided for you. You can see here we have 5 paragraphs. The classification of countries, paragraph number 1 is our introduction. As you can see here, I've started with general idea. Then we have our thesis statement. What is our thesis statement? There are 3 types of countries according to their economic conditions, the bold ones. Then second paragraph we have body. It means that we have 3 body paragraphs. Each of them, as I told you before, they have their own topic sentence. The first category is developed countries. The second one, they have also categorized some countries as a developing countries. And the third one, finally, there are underdeveloped countries in the world according to the classification. So these are the topics, and then we have some information about that. And finally, we have our conclusion paragraph. In conclusion, the countries are divided into 3 terms of development. We call it thesis restatement. Then, as I told you before, you can give your own idea. In my opinion, all countries must come together for improvement of the something, okay? So, we can give our own idea as well. Anyway, let's talk about the second one, advantage and disadvantage essay. In this type of essay, you are given a statement to comment on advantage and disadvantage of something. Basically, in all advantage and disadvantage essay, your task is to describe positive and negative side of a topic, and you need to give opinion about it. So, as I told you before, the first step is brainstorming. You can talk about the advantage and disadvantage of something. Let's focus on tourism. These are the advantages of tourism, both in countries' economic due to increased spending, means developing a country's economy because of tourism. Second, you can have more jobs if tourists come, new job opening for local people. And the last one, there are lots of opportunity to discover new places for tourists. These are the advantages of tourism. So let's look at the disadvantage one. As you can see here, the first one, I think this is Sultan Ahmed, you can see here. Destruction of popular tourist destination by a large number of tourists. If you have lots of tourists in one place, maybe they will damage to the touristic places. The second one, as you can see here, illegal economic, activities by some tourists or foreigners. And the last one that sometimes people talks about them is local people can experience loss of privacy. So these are the three disadvantages of tourism. And here's a summary of what you're expected to do. As I told you before, we have introduction and again conclusion. But we have 3 paragraphs here. It's up to you. You can have 2 advantages and 1 disadvantage and vice versa. It means that you can have 2 disadvantages and 1 advantage. Okay? So it's based on you. This is the outline we have. What is our thesis statement? This essay will examine the advantage and disadvantage of tourism and provide a logic conclusion. We have 3 topics. Number 1, the main advantage of developed tourism industry is both in country's economy. Second one, the next important advantage of tourism is that increase the level of employment by bringing new jobs. And the last one, it is not advantage, it is disadvantage. Tourism also has some major disadvantages like destruction of popular tourist destination. And look at our thesis restatement. One can state a few advantages of tourism along with disadvantage. Okay? So let's look at our example or our writing as well. As I told you before, the first paragraph will be introduction, and here we have thesis statement. This essay will examine advantage of and disadvantage of tourism and provide a logical conclusion. Then we have 3 body paragraphs, which I changed the color. You can see the yellow ones. These are the topic sentence. And finally, we will have our conclusion. In conclusion, one can state a few advantages of tourism along with disadvantages. So, this is our thesis restatement I mentioned before. And of course, as I told you before, you can give your own opinion as well. I believe that these benefits of tourism outweigh its drawbacks. So, this is your own opinion. You can give your opinion as well. Okay, so far we talked about 2 types of essay, advantages and disadvantage one, and classification one. So let's focus on the last one, argumentative. Okay? In argumentation, writers try to convince readers to accept their ideas. What are the goals of argumentative writing? Okay? First of all, to present an opinion to the reader. Second, to explain, clarify, and illustrate that opinion. Then to persuade the reader that opinion supported in essay is valid. And then to persuade the opinion by giving fact, example. And look at the last one. It is very important. To represent counter-argument to the thesis and to refute them respectfully and critically. So, you can see outline here. First, we have thesis statement. Then we have pro-argument 1. Then we have pro-argument 2. Then we have counter-argument and refutation and thesis restatement. Let me focus on this. In argumentation, first topic, we can defend our thesis statement, or what we are going to talk, and of course on the second topic as well, topic sentence. But the last body or last topic will be counter-argument. What is counter-argument? Counter-argument, we should present others or the opponent one's view, we should present opposite view, and we should reject it, refute it, okay, respectfully and critically, okay? So I wanted to insist again, we have 3 body paragraphs here. Number 1, we will defend it. Number 2, we will defend it as well. And the last one, we will mention the counter idea, the counter, I don't know, argument, opposite idea, then we will reject it or refute it. And then we will have our thesis restatement. So look at the outline here. Thesis statement. School uniforms are better choice for 3 reasons. Number 1, pro-argument. We are defending. Wearing school uniform would help make student lives simpler. Body number 2, again pro. School uniform influence students to act responsibility in a groups and as individual. And the last one, counter-argument and refutation. First of all, we should mention their ideas. What is our counter-argument here? As you can see here, we defended wearing school uniform. But here, the opponent of mandatory means essential or necessary uniform say that students who wear school uniform cannot express their individuality. It means that they wanted to show their individuality. They want to have their own clothes, but we do not agree with this. We need to refute it. We need to reject it. How? Respectfully, critically. Refutation, it's important to remember that school uniform will be worn only during school hours. Students can express their individuality in the way they dress outside of classroom. You know, we refute it, reject it respectfully. They can do it outside of a classroom. And look at our thesis restatement that you know. There are some benefits to implementing mandatory school uniform for students. Okay, everybody, we have our essay here. As you can see here, we have paragraph number 1 is our introduction. And we have our thesis here. I believe that school uniform are better choice for 3 reasons. We have 3 body paragraphs, as I told you. Number 1 and 2, we are defending. Wearing school uniform would make student life simpler. Second one, school uniform influence students to act in responsibility in group and as individual. And the last one, opponent of mandatory uniform say that students who wear school uniform cannot express their individuality. And I want to read this one because, as you can see here, this point has some merit on the surface. However, school is a place to learn, not to show wealth and fashion. It means that we are rejecting it. Society must decide their individuality. Through clothing is more valuable than improved education performance. It's important to remember that school uniform would be worn only during school hours. Students can express themselves, their individuality, in the clothing outside of the classroom. Okay, so we are rejecting it, refuting it. And the last one, conclusion. There are some benefit of implementing mandatory school uniform for students. Then you can give your own idea as well. Okay, thank you very much everybody for watching us. Hope to see you soon. Stay home, stay safe, best wishes. Okay, thank you very much.